So today's tutorial is going to be super simple. This is of course where the rear wiper goes on a 99 to 2004 Odyssey. Mine's already been taken off. Actually, my buddy randomly removed it before a show one day. I am going to finish deleting it. So we're going to be removing the motor and that the shaft is attached to here, and then plugging this up. So I'm going to show you guys how to go through that process. So first step is removing this handle that goes right here. There's just a little rubber plug on each of these. You pop off with a screwdriver, and then there is a Phillips head screw in each side. You just take those off, and that comes off. Next step are these pieces. There's a screw. You can see it's still in this one. I left it in this one. You spin these out, and then you can just kind of wiggle these pieces out with your fingernail for the most part. Sometimes you might have to pry them out with a screwdriver, or you can just reach up here and pull on this piece and it will come right off. So we're going to be removing that, which is the next step. Once you have these two clips out, this whole thing is just held on with a bunch of clips, little plastic ones, so it's just tension to pull it off. And there's a chance that you'll break some. And then you have to undo the rod that goes in for the rear lock. And it's always a huge pain in the ass to get out. And the clips are just these little clips like this. There's a bunch of them. Like I said, you'll probably break some, but you can replace them. You can find these literally anywhere. So if you haven't already done so, you're going to want to take this nut off, then pull the windshield wiper arm off, and then we're also going to be pulling this piece off as well. Alright, so this is just a 10 millimeter. Should spin right off. And then, if I remember correctly, pulling these off is actually, oh, that one was not that bad. Typically it's a pain in the ass. So this just pushes on like nothing. And then this nut is going to be one of the next things you're going to have to take off. So these are almost always a pain in the ass, especially if you live somewhere with lots of moisture. So you're going to want to put some sort of like WD-40 or PB or something along the lines on this before you try to take it off. Alright, so somehow I don't have the right size socket. I don't have all my tools here, so crescent wrench works. I already broke this loose. It's bigger than a 21, I can tell you that much. I don't know what size it is, but it's only slightly bigger than 21. It might be a 22. But break that loose. Actually, it wasn't that bad. I did PB it, of course, as you saw. You're going to want to pull that off. That off. I think this piece, yeah, goes back in through the window. So next step is to get back inside and start unbolting it from there. So now that we got everything unbolted on the outside, we're now inside. Just gonna undo the wiring harness first, which you're gonna push right here to release. That just comes off. And then we're gonna have 3 10 millimeter bolts. There's one back here, one here, and one up here. And they're all 10 millimeter, so it should be pretty straightforward. of these hanging up here. Normally will spin right out once they're like finger tight, but apparently this one has something gummed up on the threads maybe. So we're just pulling these out. Alright, just like that. And then the whole thing pops through the window, just like that. Just removing the whole thing. So next step is going to be pulling this plug out and putting the new plug in its place. So this is actually just like a grommet more than anything. But we're going to be pulling this out and then putting a plug in, so we'll jump back outside. Alright, so back on the outside of the van, got a couple different ways of doing this. I have seen people just put a plug in this hole from the hardware store, which we'll be going to here shortly. You can do that. I prefer to remove this entire assembly. Oh, shove it back in through the hole. And then you can measure this. You can do it with a micrometer. I have a micrometer, but I decided to measure it like this so that you guys see that you don't need like any crazy tools to do this job. So 1.25 inch hole. So we're gonna go find a plug at the hardware store that will plug this up. And that's not done yet. There's still a little bit of stuff we have to do to make sure this stays watertight. But let's head to the damn geese. Let's head to the hardware store. And actually another thing I didn't even really think about. If you don't have a good way of measuring this, you can pull this grommet out and take it into a hardware store, and it will give you a much better idea of what size you need. Alright, looks like we found a couple different options here, guys. Sheet metal plug, 1.25 inches. So that one looks like it might work. Grab one of those. Through 1 inch sheet metal plugs. Oh, it's a reverse plug. Get one of those too. Alright, then we got these metal versions. 1.25 inch. Alright, so we got 3 different options here. I'm gonna get all 3. 2 plastic or nylon plugs and a metal version, which I will have to make black, obviously. Alright, so got back with our 3 plug options, and after looking at them a little bit, I think what I'm gonna do is put one on from the inside. And I don't know like what this one was called necessarily. I mean, I guess you can look back in the video, but I want to see if I can fit this one from the inside so that it has the least amount of shenaniganery on the outside. Plus that's gonna help me with the sealing that I also have to do. So let's pop this thing open and see if I can get it in. Oh yeah, and I get asked all the time if my hatch actually opens with this giant spoiler, and the answer is yes. It stays open just fine. I got the hatch open, got this thing all clean, both sides, and I'm going to try slapping this plug in. I haven't really messed with it much. I don't know. One thing I am noticing, it says it's for sheet metal, so I don't know if it's going to be enough to go have it catch on the other side of this glass. Yeah, it looks like this gap that you can create down here is not enough to go over the glass. It's just for like thin sheet metal. So we're gonna have to go with this metal one, which is fine. I'm gonna put it in temporarily because I'm obviously gonna need to paint it black or something. So that's that. So I'll pop it back out, get it painted up, and then we're also going to put something on it to seal it. Alright, get this thing all painted up, and this one should be as simple as just shoving it in. That's what she said. There we go. Then the only other thing I'm going to do is go in and put some sealant on the inside of this. I'm just going to use a GE product, which I will show you here in just a second. Alright guys, I wanted to show you one thing that I did decide to do with these. These little legs that come through, they do create a tension, which is fine, but I decided to bend them out, well, every few, bend them out around the window so that this will not push out. I don't think it would push out anyway. I mean, they were in there really tight, but I figured I might as well. I mean, there's no harm in doing that other than now you can't pop it out from the outside. You'd have to get in here and bend this up. So I'm gonna put the rest of the interior together and show you guys what it looks like finished. All right, so just replacing one of the plastic clips that I broke taking this out. And I'll put this back up. One thing you gotta remember is you have to put this rod back in through the opening first. Has to be the first thing you do. Alright, you get this to where it's seemingly lined up with the holes down at the bottom. And then this just pops back into place. I knocked this little piece out with mine. You probably knock one or two of them out. It's not a big deal. Put them back up, line up the holes. Alright, let's put these little plastic clips in. You want to put them in without the screws, by the way. Put those in first. And then you actually don't have to screw these screws back in. You can just shove them into place. Alright, then let's put this handle back in. This handle actually is directional. It does matter which way it goes. It'll actually install both ways technically, but it's curved to be more useful in one direction than the other. We are done. Looks much better. Alright guys, that will wrap up this video. Obviously this is a super simple installation. Costs I think $3. It's like $2 or something maybe for that plug, $2 and some change. Not everybody's going to want to do something like this, but being that that rear windshield wiper is basically useless, seems like a pretty good move overall. Gonna be putting more videos up, so if you like this video, like and hit the subscribe button, and we'll see if we can do something with this channel.